All right, we're going to get started. 7 steps, how to use the holidays to master a social skill for young adults with a disability. So welcome. My name is John Keating. I'm from keatingcoaching.net. I work with all sorts of individuals with disabilities, and I'm here to present you with these short 15-minute videos. I hope you find them helpful. Let's get started. So for you of those of you that don't know me, I've been in this field for a long time. I've worked in big companies. I've worked in little companies. I've subcontracted out myself to families. It's really what I do. I started off with employment, basically every sort of employment option. But as the years have gone on, I've kind of generally taken off like a life success coach. So I help people with disabilities, with all different sorts of things, trying to find out what they need to do after transitioning from school services to adult services. What things that they want to do with different aspects of their life and those sorts of things. So anyway, all right. So just so I'm one of you. I have a child with a disability, even though I've been in this field for 10 plus years. Um, she is, just like other kids with disabilities. So, just so you know, we're all in this together. Um, and, that's her. All right. So let's get on to the video webinar. All right. So step one. Yeah, I really was really excited about doing this webinar because the holidays are this week, and there are plenty going to December. So there's plenty of opportunity to put these individuals into a social environment, a controlled, actually, really controlled because you control it, but really lively in a real environment because it's the holidays and it's a party. There's a lot of things going on. So the first thing that we need to do is to realize that it is a great opportunity to take advantage of it. I know it's the holidays, people don't like to work, but it's really not much effort. But this really is like a petri dish um, you know, of examples of how to use different social skills in a live setting. So anyway, so let's go through the steps. The seven. One is, pick one or two social skills, be specific, two max maybe. But if you could really hone in on one, or if you have one, maybe another easy one, it could be anything. I mean, even starting a conversation could be one. Making a comment into a conversation could be one. Um, you know, saying hello to somebody that maybe you're not familiar with, or sitting in with a group that you might not be familiar with or comfortable with, or whatever, or even staying on your device is a specific social skill, especially when other people aren't on it. But anyway, so the step one is, have the sit down. I like to sit down. People know me. I like to sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out, what it is, one thing that you want to work on. You want to definitely take advantage of the group setting. All right. Two, preparation is key. Again, do the sit down, review the day before, what it's going to be like. Make sure that everyone knows that you will be inspecting what you expect. We're going to talk about that in another couple of steps. But, make sure that you're prepared. You've talked to other family members, so you're kind of all on the same page. The worst thing you could do is set these things up and then all of a sudden have somebody that doesn't agree with you. And then right in the middle of the setting, people are given different areas of advice. That's horrible. So if you're married, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, if you're together, other children, if they're old enough, they want to be involved, just let's all keep an eye on what's happening. So preparation, of course, is really key. All right. First thing I do, you have to decrease the distractions. I just did a video webinar last week, and that was a topic. It's like an addiction to these guys, to everybody, and people that don't have disabilities. You could very easily suck in 60% plus more of your time behind some sort of a distraction. Now, everyone, of course, blames the phone, but I mean, if you can leave the phone in the car, but there are also plenty of other distractions. It could be, TV. It could be a pet. It could be a fish tank. It could be anything that people find distracting. So you want to try to decrease those, try to get rid of those. If you, of course, if you can't get rid of the pets, whatever, at least you know it's a distraction. And if people are if your child is distracted for a good amount of time, either move them into another room, get rid of the dog, whatever it is you got to do. But it's an addiction, and you can't leave it up to anybody to really handle it on their own. They need help. So again, you don't want to spend all this valuable time in a distracted area. It's just a waste. All right. Look for leverage. Now, it's different than a threat. So, I mean, when I'm working with kids, and I do in many different states, young adults, I always look for that leverage. What is it that they want? And leverage is sometimes, it's the same. Sometimes it takes a while to, figure out, but it's different than, again, threatening. Leverage is just looking for something that they appreciate, that they like. So, for instance, if there's presence, maybe, we're going to talk about keeping track of all these things in a little bit, but maybe it's, you have to do X, 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 3 times, and then you can, open up that present. Or if you don't do 10 XXXs, then it's only 1 scoop of ice cream instead of 2. But you need some sort of leverage, some sort of, maybe we'll take the bridge home, or maybe we'll go slow during it, whatever it is that they like. You want to look for leverage, because you'll find that even anybody won't pursue something without something getting back. Like, you want some, I hate to say reward, but you want some sort of, leverage. You want something, you do this and this could happen. Really, really, if you have strong leverage, it's great. All right. So keeping track. You want to keep track. Whatever it is that you're trying to change, whatever that preparation, whatever that number is, okay, you want to do it 3 times or 4 times, 5 times, or, start a conversation, 6 times, keep track. Either have an index card, they could keep track, if they don't want to keep track, or you find that it's, too distracting. We'll talk about getting rid of distractions. Just keeping an eye on my time here. You want to make sure that you do it. So the index card could be, just okay. I answered a question. Okay, check. So but keep track. You want to inspect everything that you expect. Don't just assume that it's going to happen without any start and finish and leverage, of course. All right. Look for carryover. So, we talk about that the next day, whatever it is that you're working on, maybe you want to start working on it, a few days before. Just bring it to their attention. If it's start a conversation, whatever it is, you're at around the dinner table, give them some tools, what can they do, to start a conversation. If it's to be a part of a conversation, go over that, but try to, carry it over when you're done. Look at the index card. How did you do? Try to do it the next day. Try to bring it over to the next occasion, which brings us to 7. Use multiple holidays. There are plenty of holidays. There's plenty of get-togethers. Even if it's grandma's house, even if it's a couple of people, doesn't have to be a whole huge party. But use the holidays. And if they haven't really, if they mastered the skill that you're looking to improve on, then maybe I would, change it up. But or reinforce it, have them do that, and then add on another one. Maybe that's somehow connected. Really important to use the multiple days. You want to keep that going. All right, I'll go. Sorry. Okay. So for November and December, November and December, okay. November and December, I'm offering coaching sessions. That's how we get in touch with me, or you could just text me, go to my website, and I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you.